You're about to hear how one careless word at a Friday dinner turned my life upside down and exposed my wife in front of everyone she thought she could fool. At Friday's dinner, my wife, Megan, casually called me her roommate, laughing as if it were a harmless joke. But by Saturday morning, that joke became reality. She wasn't my wife anymore. She was just renting a room in my house, and she had no one to blame but herself. It all started on a seemingly ordinary Friday evening. Megan had invited some of her co-workers over for dinner, and I spent the day preparing a meal that I hoped would impress everyone. I had always been meticulous in my home. The table was set perfectly, the living room spotless, the candles lit just right. I wanted the night to go smoothly. The guests arrived, cheerful and chatty. Megan was radiant, laughing at jokes, sipping wine, and flaunting her social charm. I, on the other hand, stayed quiet, serving food, pouring drinks, and silently observing her interactions. I noticed her glances toward me were distant, almost detached. She had started treating me like part of the furniture rather than her husband. The dinner was going well until one of her co-workers, a man named Jason, leaned over and said, "Megan, you're lucky to have someone like him helping with all this." Megan smiled, tilted her head, and with a casual laugh said, "Oh, him? He's basically just my roommate these days." The room went silent for a fraction of a second, and then the polite laughter started. I smiled, but inside something shifted. The word roommate wasn't just a joke, it was a confession. For months I had felt the distance growing, the coldness in her voice, the lack of affection, but hearing her say it aloud in front of everyone confirmed what I already suspected. I said nothing that night. I let the dinner continue, served dessert, and cleaned up while Megan and her friends talked about work, vacations, and weekend plans. When everyone left, she turned to me, still laughing. "Don't be so sensitive, it was just a joke." I just smiled. "Sure," I said softly, keeping my thoughts to myself. Later that night, I went to my study and reflected. The house was mine, legally, financially, and emotionally. She might have laughed at me, called me her roommate, but I had the power to redefine what that word meant. And I decided I would. By Saturday morning, Megan woke up expecting me to be cheerful and forgiving. Instead, I calmly told her, "Since you think of me as a roommate, I've drafted a lease agreement. You can stay as long as you pay rent." Her eyes widened in disbelief. "What? Are you serious?" I handed her a folder with the lease terms, detailed and formal, my name clearly listed as the property owner. "You called me your roommate in front of your co-workers. Now it's time to act like one." She tried to laugh, thinking I was joking. I didn't flinch. I explained calmly that she had 2 weeks to decide whether to stay as a tenant under the new terms or find another place. Her smile faded, replaced by shock, panic, and finally, silence. Her parents called later, trying to reason with me. I was polite but firm. "She made her choice when she publicly turned our marriage into a joke," I said. By the following week, she had packed her things and started paying rent as a tenant. The confidence she once displayed at dinners evaporated. She had underestimated the quiet patience of someone who had been disrespected but never desperate. I didn't need to yell or humiliate her. The lease agreement, my calm resolve, and the reality of her choices were enough to teach her a lesson she wouldn't forget. She had laughed at me, but now she lived with the consequences of her words. Months later, I had restored peace to my life. I focused on myself, my work, and my personal growth. Megan, now a tenant, could no longer undermine my authority or manipulate appearances. The word roommate that had once been a mockery became a symbol of her own embarrassment and my quiet triumph. Sometimes revenge doesn't come from anger. It comes from patience, strategy, and letting people expose themselves. Megan called me her roommate. I made it official. If you liked the video, please subscribe and turn on notifications.